Let's start with number 11. The scourging wheel. The scourging wheel, or torture wheel, was another brutal tool employed by the Byzantines to punish criminals and extract confessions. This method involved binding the victim to a large wooden wheel, with limbs and torso stretched out to maximize exposure. The torturer then used rods, whips, or metal implements to strike the body repeatedly, breaking skin, muscle, and sometimes bones. Unlike simple flogging, the wheel allowed for sustained, precise attacks. Victims could be spun or repositioned to target different body parts, ensuring pain was evenly distributed and prolonged. Blood would often flow freely, and lacerations became deep, exposing underlying tissue. Byzantine physicians or executioners carefully monitored the victim to prevent instantaneous death, prolonging the suffering to hours or even days. Psychologically, the scourging wheel was devastating. Victims were fully aware of the incoming blows, creating constant anticipation and terror. Public spectacles involving the wheel were common, serving as a deterrent to potential lawbreakers. The cries of pain, coupled with visible mutilation, reinforced state authority and instilled fear throughout the population. Sometimes, the scourging wheel was combined with additional forms of torment, such as searing the flesh or pouring salt into wounds, intensifying the agony. The Byzantine Empire perfected the art of using physical and psychological methods together, and the scourging wheel exemplified this cruel synergy. Victims suffered slowly, painfully, and publicly, a testament to the empire's brutal approach to justice. 10. The breast ripper. The breast ripper was an instrument of sheer cruelty, specifically designed to punish women accused of crimes such as adultery, heresy, or treason. Made of iron, the device featured sharp claws or hooks intended to tear the flesh of the breasts, causing excruciating pain and irreversible mutilation. Executioners often heated the tool before use, intensifying the torment. Victims were restrained and forced to endure the slow, methodical ripping of their bodies. The purpose extended beyond mere punishment. It was a method to inflict permanent humiliation and terror. By targeting a deeply personal and sensitive part of the body, the Byzantines ensured the psychological trauma matched the physical agony. In some cases, the breast ripper was applied in public as a warning. The screams of the victim, combined with the shocking sight of mutilation, reinforced obedience and deterred others from defying authority. The tool's design required precision and deliberate control, allowing torturers to prolong suffering while maintaining the victim's consciousness. Though specifically gendered, the breast ripper epitomized Byzantine sadism, a blend of meticulous engineering and psychological manipulation. Victims suffered in body and spirit, leaving a lasting impression of fear and dominance in Byzantine society. 9. The brazen bull, Byzantine variant. Although originally an ancient Greek invention, the Byzantines adopted their own variant of the brazen bull, a hollow bronze statue shaped like a large bull, designed for slow roasting victims alive. The victim was forced inside the metal chamber, and the bull was then heated from below using fire or hot coals. As the metal warmed, the temperature inside the chamber rose gradually, turning it into a suffocating and blistering oven. This torture was designed for maximum psychological and physical agony. At first, the victim experienced intense heat and difficulty breathing. As temperatures escalated, the skin began to burn, muscles contracted uncontrollably, and internal organs were slowly cooked. Torturers intentionally kept the fire at a moderate intensity to prolong suffering for hours. The bull's design included a system of pipes that transformed the victim's screams into eerie, animal-like sounds, adding a horrifying theatrical effect. The Byzantines often used this method for traitors or conspirators, especially when they wanted to make an unforgettable public statement. Crowds gathered to watch the bronze statue glow red, fully aware of the agony occurring inside. 8. The knee splitter. The knee splitter was a torture device designed specifically to destroy joints, particularly the knees and elbows. Built with rows of sharp, pyramid-shaped spikes, the device functioned much like a vice. The victim's leg, or arm, was inserted between the spiked plates, and the torturer slowly tightened the screws, forcing the spikes deeper into the flesh, cartilage, and bone. This method caused excruciating pain almost immediately, but the true horror lay in its slow progression. As the device tightened, the spikes crushed bone fragments into the joints, rendering the limb permanently destroyed. The victim would feel ligaments snap and cartilage grind, often accompanied by the sound of cracking bone. The Byzantines used the knee splitter not only as punishment, but as a crippling tactic. Victims who survived were left unable to walk, work, or fight, serving as living reminders of imperial wrath. The psychological impact was immense. The knowledge that one's mobility and independence were being torn away piece by piece created deep mental anguish. Interrogators also used this device to extract confessions. The slow tightening allowed torturers to pause, question, then continue, making each moment a negotiation between agony and survival. In some cases, both knees were targeted simultaneously to maximize suffering. The knee splitter was not designed to kill outright, but rather to destroy a person's future, identity, and dignity through irreversible mutilation. 7. The strappado. The strappado was one of the Byzantines' most psychologically terrifying and physically destructive torture methods. The victim's hands were tied behind their back, and a rope connected to the bindings was hoisted over a high beam or pulley. The victim was then lifted off the ground by their arms, which were forced upward unnaturally, placing immense strain on the shoulders. This position caused immediate pain. The arms were twisted backward while the full weight of the body pulled downward, leading to dislocated shoulders, torn muscles, and damaged nerves. Some victims reported losing sensation in their arms within minutes due to the strain on circulation. Torturers often intensified the agony by jerking the rope suddenly, causing the body to drop a short distance before stopping abruptly. This violent motion could dislocate joints or tear ligaments instantly. Known as the strappado drop, it amplified suffering while maintaining the victim's consciousness. The Byzantines frequently used the strappado during interrogations because it allowed extended torture without causing immediate death. Victims were left suspended for minutes or even hours, their bodies trembling under the strain. Beyond the physical destruction, the terror of hanging helplessly, unable to move, breathe comfortably, or predict the next drop, added a powerful psychological dimension. Survivors were often permanently disabled, arms hanging unnaturally from dislocated joints. 6. The foot roasting, fiery soul torture. Foot roasting was a slow, excruciating method used by Byzantine interrogators to inflict intense pain without killing the victim. The victim's legs were restrained, often in wooden stocks or a pillory, leaving the bare feet fully exposed. Hot coals, heated irons, or braziers were then placed beneath the soles, roasting them gradually. At first, the heat caused extreme discomfort, but as the temperature increased, the skin began to blister and peel. Victims often screamed uncontrollably as nerve endings ignited with burning agony. Torturers sometimes controlled the temperature carefully, raising or lowering the heat to prolong the torture and prevent the victim from passing out. Salt, vinegar, or oil was occasionally rubbed into the wounds to intensify the pain. The smell of burning flesh added a psychological horror that deepened the victim's despair. Foot roasting was especially effective for interrogations, as the victim could remain conscious and responsive for hours. This method also served as a symbolic punishment. The feet, used for travel and labor, represented freedom. By destroying them, the Byzantines not only inflicted physical pain, but crippled the victim's future ability to walk, flee, or fight. Victims who survived the ordeal were often left unable to stand or walk again, their souls permanently damaged and scarred. Among the many tortures of the Byzantine Empire, foot roasting stood out for its combination of intense suffering, humiliation, and lifelong consequences. 5. The wooden horse, the Spanish donkey, Byzantine style. The wooden horse, known in some Byzantine records as the triangle seat, was a brutal torture device designed to inflict slow, tearing pain on the victim's groin and inner thighs. The device consisted of a sharply angled, triangular wooden beam mounted on sturdy legs. The victim was forced to straddle the pointed edge, placing all their weight directly onto the narrow surface. The initial pain was immediate and overwhelming, but the true torment came from time and gravity. As the minutes turned into hours, the body's weight pressed deeper onto the sharp edge, cutting into flesh and causing intense pressure on nerves and muscles. Torturers sometimes added weights to the victim's ankles to increase downward force, ensuring deeper cuts and prolonged agony. This method was designed to humiliate as much as it hurt. The straddling position exposed the victim helplessly, creating psychological vulnerability while inflicting unbearable physical pain. In some cases, the torture was used against individuals accused of adultery, espionage, or treason, crimes the empire wished to punish with both suffering and shame. Victims often passed out from pain only to be revived and returned to the device. Some suffered permanent injuries, including damaged pelvic muscles, severe bleeding, and long-term mobility issues. Others were intentionally kept on the device for extended periods, ensuring slow destruction of tissue and enduring trauma. The wooden horse exemplified Byzantine cruelty through its simplicity. No heated metal, no elaborate machinery, just a painful seat designed to tear a person apart slowly, body and dignity together. 4. The spiked collar. The spiked collar was a restraining and torture instrument that combined immobilization, pain, and humiliation. Crafted from iron and fitted with inward-facing spikes, the collar was locked tightly around the victim's neck. These spikes were deliberately sharp enough to pierce the skin, but not deep enough to kill immediately. Once secured, the victim could not move their head without driving the spikes further into their flesh. Even swallowing, coughing, or turning slightly caused sharp stabs of pain. The Byzantines used this method for prisoners who needed to be transported, interrogated, or publicly displayed. The constant discomfort, combined with bleeding, infection risk, and limited mobility, made the collar a powerful psychological weapon. Victims were often chained in place, forced to stand or kneel for long periods. Fatigue caused their muscles to weaken, making them slump, which pushed the spikes deeper into their neck. Torturers sometimes tightened the collar incrementally, increasing pressure and pain. In public settings, the collar served as a symbol of disgrace, signaling to crowds that the individual was a criminal or traitor. Over time, the flesh around the spikes became swollen and infected, adding to the suffering. Many victims were left with permanent scars or breathing difficulties due to throat damage. The spiked collar represented the Byzantine philosophy of torture, continuous, drawn-out suffering that punished both body and identity. 3. The rack, Byzantine stretching torture. The rack, one of history's most infamous torture devices, was widely used in the Byzantine Empire for interrogation and punishment. It consisted of a long wooden frame with rollers at both ends. The victim was bound by wrists and ankles, lying flat on the device. As the torturer turned the rollers, the ropes tightened, stretching the body slowly and painfully. At first, the stretching caused severe discomfort as muscles and joints strained. But as the tension increased, ligaments tore, shoulders dislocated, and joints popped out of their sockets. Victims could hear and feel their bodies ripping apart bit by bit, amplifying the psychological terror of the ordeal. Interrogators used the rack strategically to extract confessions. They tightened the ropes gradually, paused to question the victim, then tightened again. This stop-and-start rhythm made the torture unpredictable, heightening fear and helplessness. Some victims confessed immediately just to stop the stretching. Others endured long sessions that left them permanently disabled. Beyond physical destruction, the rack inflicted lasting trauma. Victims often emerged with elongated limbs, torn muscles, nerve damage, and lifelong pain. In extreme cases, the body could be stretched until bones fractured or the spine tore, leading to death. 2. The iron chair. The iron chair, sometimes referred to as the judgment seat, was a terrifying instrument of torture in Byzantine times. Crafted entirely from iron, this chair was designed to inflict maximum pain while leaving the victim conscious and aware of their torment. The seat, backrest, and armrest were lined with sharp spikes, meticulously arranged to pierce the skin when a person was seated. Victims were often stripped and forced onto the chair, their bodies pressed against the spikes. Even slight movements could intensify the agony, causing deep lacerations and severe bleeding. To ensure prolonged suffering, the torturer might heat the iron, searing flesh and intensifying pain. The psychological impact of the iron chair was as devastating as the physical torment. Victims were immobilized, unable to defend themselves, and fully conscious of the slow damage to their bodies. This method was not only a tool of punishment, but also a means of intimidation. Public executions involving the iron chair served as gruesome warnings to others, demonstrating the consequences of betrayal, heresy, or treason. Byzantine authorities often paired this torture with interrogations, using the victim's screams to pressure confessions or reveal hidden conspiracies. The sheer ingenuity of the iron chair lay in its simplicity, metal spikes, and the human body. It required no complex mechanisms, but could prolong agony indefinitely. Victims might be left hours or even days in this excruciating position, ensuring that pain dominated both body and mind. For many, the iron chair was a harrowing testament to the Byzantine Empire's ruthless approach to justice. 1. The sawing method. The Byzantine saw was a particularly cruel torture method designed to execute or punish individuals slowly and publicly. In this method, victims were typically hung upside down, often by their feet, which caused blood to rush to the head, increasing both panic and physical discomfort. A large, sharp saw was then applied to their body, sometimes starting at the groin or abdomen, depending on the crime and the desired level of terror. The technique was deliberately slow. Torturers took advantage of gravity and the body's weight to make the sawing process agonizingly prolonged. With each downward stroke, nerves, muscles, and organs were shredded gradually. Victims remained conscious for much of the ordeal, their awareness amplifying the psychological torment. This method was especially feared because of its public nature. The Byzantines often carried it out in front of large crowds, sending a clear message that treason or rebellion would meet an excruciating end. Pain was only part of the strategy. Blood loss, shock, and panic created a compounded effect, frequently resulting in prolonged suffering before death. Even in cases where death was inevitable, the Byzantines prioritized spectacle and the demonstration of authority. The sawing method was reserved for those considered particularly dangerous or dishonorable, reinforcing social hierarchies and obedience through fear. What made this method especially horrifying was the control it gave torturers over the victim's suffering. The pace, angle, and placement of each stroke could be manipulated to prolong agony, ensuring that every moment was filled with unimaginable pain. The sawing method stands as one of the most infamous examples of Byzantine cruelty, combining meticulous technique with psychological terror.